Hey there, welcome to this introduction on tapping. Tapping, or emotional freedom technique, or EFT as it's called, can be a very powerful tool to add to our toolbox of strategies. And I love recommending it because it's something that anyone can learn and try, and it can be used for literally anything you want to shift in your life. It's a simple tool that can put the power to heal or clear or transform or get unstuck into your own hands. And that's what I love about it. So EFT uses a combination of positive psychology and the meridian or energy system of the body to release, transform, or heal anything that we're suffering with. And if you know anything about acupressure points, you've maybe heard of them before to say relieve a headache or nausea, then you're already familiar with the meridian and energy system in the body. So it's kind of a way to reset both the body and the mind from anything that we're blocked with. And I'd like to really encourage you to use it to build confidence or worthiness or belief in yourself or your mojo, to shift old stories, limiting beliefs, blocks, fears, or doubts, to heal underlying emotional issues or trauma, to create change, and to move forward. Tapping can work for lots of other things too, such as physical pain, phobias, weight loss, insomnia, PTSD, all sorts of things. So definitely do a little more research if you're interested in that and how tapping can help you. You'll also find there's lots of people who work as tapping practitioners or therapists or coaches that can help you if you want some support with your tapping. Just for a little bit of background, tapping was initially discovered by a psychologist who was trying to help a patient overcome a debilitating fear of water. And he was able to link her physical feelings of fear that she described in her stomach to the associated meridian or acupressure points and relieve her panic by tapping on those points. So that's kind of where it began, and it's been built on through the years. For this particular intro to tapping and the Tap to Get Unstuck video, we're going to focus on overcoming our resistance so that we can rise up and do more of what we say we want in life. So the way it works is we're going to tap into our negative emotions, like our fear, anxiety, limiting beliefs, memories, unresolved issues, etc., by speaking them out loud. And we're going to tap into our body's energy system by tapping on our meridian endpoints. So those endpoints are found. There's a karate chop spot on the outside of your hand. So that's the very first one we'll be using. And then there's one on the top of your head and in your inner eyebrow, on the outside of your eye, under your eye, over your cheekbone, under your nose, above your top lip, under your bottom lip, on your chin, on the collarbone, and it's kind of underneath your collarbone, kind of where the collar of your shirt or where the straps of a top or a bra would go, and under your armpit. Not right in the middle of your armpit, although you could probably catch the point if you did that, but I find for mine is a little bit below the bottom part of my armpit. Again, kind of where a strap of a tank top would go or a bra strap. We'll go through those again. I'll just say that practice going through them and practice using the tip of your fingertips, not your nails. And you can use 2 or 3 or even 4 fingers if you want. And you don't have to work, you don't have to be too worried about getting exactly. If you're using, a few fingers, you're going to get the point close enough. But you'll know you have the correct spot if it feels a little bit tender when you tap on it. So play along with me. We'll go through them again, but just move your fingers around a bit and see if you can find that kind of point that's a bit tender. And every time I do it, I kind of have to find those points again. But the more you do it, the more you'll get used to where your points are for you. So let's just do them one more time. The karate chop point on the outside of your hand, the top of your head, your inner eyebrow, outside of your eye. And again, just move your fingers until you find that little tender spot. Under your eye, kind of on the top of your cheekbone. I can feel that one. Under your nose, on your chin, collarbone. I can feel that one. So just move your fingers around until you get the spot. And under your arm. So those are the points that we're going to be using, the meridian endpoints. And you can just go through those a few times just to practice until you kind of get the hang of them. The next thing we're going to do is prepare what we need to start tapping. So there's a few different bits that we'll need, and I find it helpful if I have them ready to go in advance, so then I can just get into the tapping. And I find it's helpful to have a journal or a notebook so I can just jot down my ideas, and then I have them as a bit of a guide as I'm tapping as well. Excuse me, I have a bit of a tickle in my throat. So the very first step is to identify what it is you want to focus on for your tapping. The more specific you can be, the better, I think. It just helps you to really tune into what's really got you stuck. So identify first whatever your problem is or issue or stuckness, the thing you want to clear or shift or heal or change. And as you think about this issue that you've identified, really let your feelings flood in. This is key. You want to allow yourself to feel your feelings, because that's what we really want to clear in our mind and in our thoughts and emotions and in our body as well. And I find it's really helpful to give my stuckness a number, kind of a scale, and to rate the level of the distress or intensity of your feelings. This will just help you to know how far tapping has helped, and if you maybe need to do some more tapping or if you're feeling relief. Having a bit of a number scale makes it concrete. I like to use a scale of -10 through to +10. -10 is like the most stuck that you can possibly feel, like, oh, this is awful. And +10 is like so ready and fully able to move forwards, like nothing's holding you back. 0 is kind of a neutral spot where the intensity of the issue isn't really there anymore. Like you don't feel horrible, but you don't really feel like you can move forward yet either. So use that scale and give your particular issue of stuckness, whatever muddy puddle you're stuck in right now, give it a number on that scale. Step 2 is to create your setup statement that this is relative to your issue. And this statement's going to have 2 parts. The first part is going to acknowledge the stuckness that you particularly feel. And this is about honoring the place you're in and also bringing all those feelings up to the surface. The second part of the statement provides you with unconditional love, compassion, and acceptance for yourself. So the statement's going to look like this. Even though I fill in the blank here with your particular issue, I deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. So if I'm feeling stuck, like I just have no mojo, no energy, no passion for whatever it is I'm trying to do, I might say, even though I have no mojo and I feel so crappy, I deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. Or I might try to even get more specific and say, even though I have no mojo at all for this project, I deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. So this is about getting specific about that stuckness and getting that statement ready to go. The statement is really about showing your willingness to embrace your emotions and to resolve the issue, to let it go, and to love yourself through this process. So it sets you up for the whole tapping procedure. Okay, step 3 is to have a list of everything that you want to clear, heal, or shift in regard to this specific muddy puddle, this issue or the stuckness you're feeling. So anything that layers into that for you, it could be emotions, memories, stories, situations, beliefs, ideas. And as you make the list, try to get to the core underlying issue as best as you can. Sometimes that doesn't come up until you're actually tapping, and you'll notice like new things coming up as you're going through your list. So be ready to notice. But to start out, it's helpful, I think, to have a list of all of the fear or shame or anger or other emotions you're feeling. What exactly pain or frustration you're feeling, any people that have contributed, what they're saying or how they're making you feel, or the interactions with them is how that's feeling for you. All of the ways you might be beating yourself up, all of the stories you might be telling yourself. So try to get as specific as you can. But you can also just say things like, all of this fear I'm feeling, all of this fear I'm feeling, or all of this pain I'm feeling, all of this frustration I'm feeling. If you can't get specific, it's enough to start with a more general statement. So do your best to make a list of everything, all the negative stuff you're feeling. The next step will be to make a list of the positives as well. So these are the things you want to affirm for yourself or work on believing about yourself or your situation. Just like before we were looking for a core underlying issue to tap on, in this case, we want to find out a really powerful positive emotion that we want to anchor into, something that will help you to remember as you move forward. And it helps to use strong words like I will, I am, I can, rather than, oh, maybe I might feel a little bit better if I tried. You want to say, I am ready. It is safe. I can do this. I will take this step forward. I am strong. I am brave. I am confident. So make a list of all the great positive things you want to affirm for yourself and anchor into, and be as specific as you can. Okay, so step 5 is to start tapping. We've got our lists, we've got our setup statement, and we know the points. So let's go through this process so that you can get used to what it'll be like. In the next video, we'll do a full tapping exercise together without all the extra explanation. So this round is really for us to get used to what it's like. I like to say the setup statement 3 times, sometimes slightly different ways each time, but this is about honing in on the issue and allowing yourself to bring up the emotion. And we start with a setup statement and the karate chop point. So you might say or sound something like this. Even though I'm afraid of speaking up, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I keep swallowing my words, I deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. Even though I believe no one will ever listen to me or care what I have to say, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. So that's the setup statement to start out with your karate chop point, and you're really trying to just hone in on that issue with that statement, allowing yourself to honor your feelings. Once you've done that, the next thing is to go through all of those meridian points that we went through. And at the same time as tapping, we're going to list all of those negative emotions. And remembering that it's enough to say something general like all of this fear, but the more specific you can get, the better. As well as you're tapping, notice, like if new things are coming up to the surface, tap on them, say them out loud. Just keep saying stuff out loud. It doesn't matter if you stumble over your words. It doesn't even matter if you get a little bit choked up and start to cry. The whole point is to bring up the emotions and to say all of it out loud and tap at the same time, and go with whatever comes. Follow the flow of the emotion that's coming up. The list, I find, helps. It gives me a starting point to get my awareness there. But as I'm talking, I just go with whatever comes. So it might sound a bit like this, going on from that same theme. I might tap and say, starting with our top point here, all of this fear I have about speaking, I keep swallowing my voice. I'm so ashamed of myself. I can never change. It's a lifelong pattern. I keep swallowing my voice. I'm so frustrated with myself. I can never speak up and say what I feel. It's so hard to speak up. when I speak up, I feel afraid. My voice chokes. And you just keep going, and you just keep speaking up and bringing up the emotions of that issue. And you just keep talking, and you just keep tapping. I do a few rounds until I feel like I've exhausted my list and I have nothing else coming up that I need to say out loud. And I also, when it feels like the intensity of the negative emotions have lessened. I mean, ideally, you're going for the worst you could feel at the -10, back to the 0, to that sort of neutral, I don't feel so awful anymore. You can just tap a couple of times in each point. I tend to tap until I'm done saying that one phrase, and then I move on for the next phrase. That's what helps me. And you just keep tapping through that whole list of negative emotions. And then when you've exhausted that list and you're feeling like you've really, gone through all of that negative stuff, then we want to go into the positive emotions and affirmations. So we're going to keep tapping, but now we're going to go to the stuff we want to anchor into. It is safe for me to speak up. It is safe to be heard. It's safe to share my story. My words matter. When I speak up, I own my truth. I'm ready to speak up. I'm ready to raise my voice. I'm ready to say out loud, this is what I'm doing. This is what matters to me. And again, you just keep tapping as you say the positive things. And if I notice, like, as I say something like, I'm ready to raise my voice, and then inside I'm like, I'm not ready. What if people hate me? What if I lose my friends? What if there's a negative consequence? Then just do a few more rounds of that. I want to be ready to raise my voice, but I'm still feeling afraid. What if people hate me? What if there's negative comments on my wall? What if the trolls come out? What if I have to deal with a whole bunch of crap? What if my husband doesn't understand? And you just keep tapping until you have gone through that. And then you can try some more positives again and keep going until you feel like you're moving up the positive end of the intensity scale. And that, really simply, is tapping. Once I feel ready to stop, I'll usually just keep going until I'm like, okay, I feel safe. I feel safe. I feel safe. And I just finish up with something positive. You got this. You can do this. And then I breathe. You can put your hand on your heart or a hand on your forehead if you like. That's a very calming, kind of integrating action. And breathe. And you're safe. And you're grounded. And you might even finish off by saying something positive to yourself. I've got this. Or thank you. However you like to finish. One more bit of I love you, I honor you, I accept you, you got this. Finish it. And do it again and again. You might have to tap on things over and over again until you're feeling like that intensity is really gone down, and you're back into the positive scale. Just a few things about tapping. It's something you can do anywhere, anytime, for anything. If you're out in public and you need to tap on something, for instance, let's say you're feeling really anxious or you need to relieve your stress. If you're tapping about raising your voice and you're in a situation like at a meeting where you're about to speak up and you're feeling nervous, you can tap on just the karate point chop. And you can have your hand under the table or in your lap, and you can just be going through things in your head. So you can do this unobtrusively when you're out with people. You can just be thinking in your head, even though I'm afraid to speak, I deeply and completely love, honor, accept myself. I'm just tapping under the table. Even though I'm afraid to speak up and I'm feeling so nervous, I deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. And you can just be tapping on that karate chop point unobtrusively under the table. When you first try tapping, it can be really helpful to have that script, like what we just created, talking about using your journal, or you can use the Tapping to Get Unstuck video as a script to follow along, and you can just play it and do it along. One of my favorite YouTubers is Brad Yates. You'll find him over on YouTube, Tap with Brad, and he's got tons of little videos, and they're all like less than 10 minutes, and you can just follow along with him. Say his words out loud, say my words out loud, and it helps you to practice the points and the process. But then the more you practice, the better you're going to get at making your own scripts and drilling down to your own core issues, which is what's really important, is you get to what is really making you feel stuck and clear it. It is important for you to know you don't have to have the perfect phrases or word choices. That's not the important thing. What matters most is tuning into the emotions. So the words are just helping you to express the emotion. But even if all you are saying is fear, anger, pain, and allowing yourself to feel the feelings, that's what matters. So the words and phrases bring up the emotions, but it's the emotions that you're tapping on. So don't worry too much if you don't know exactly what to say. The number one question I get from people about tapping is, why do we focus on all this negative stuff? It seems counterintuitive, but we focus on it so we can shift it. We allow ourselves to feel it so we can heal it. That's the whole point. We bring it up so we can let it go. And the tapping plus the speaking and the feeling, all of that is helping that process. So as I said, you might need to tap on the same issue again and again as you move yourself up the scale and you move yourself forward. As you take step forward, you might be like, oh, feeling that fear again, and you need to come back to it. And that's fine. Just, use your journal, use your notebook, keep tapping on things, trying to tune into what is going on and trying to get to the core of the issue each time. It can be helpful, especially if you're doing like something specific and you are noticing a lot of resistance, to do tapping daily. You might do it when you first wake up or right before you go to bed, or do it in the shower. Or if you do something like go walking, you could do it while you walk or meditate, or just add it into your daily life as a habit. That can be a helpful way to really notice a difference from tapping, is by doing it. And if you pick one thing to tap on and do it daily, or even if you just tap on whatever is going on for you each day. You can do it even, as I said, in a moment where you're feeling a lot of doubt or a lot of negative self-talk, or you're repeating the same old story. Stop yourself in that moment and do some tapping, and then keep going forwards with whatever it is you're trying to do. You can also combine other things with tapping. For instance, I sometimes do EFT while also doing forgiveness. So if you know about forgiveness and Ho'oponopono, I can tap on I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. And as I say those words, more emotions are coming up that I can be tapping on. Cord cutting or untangling, surrendering, changing your story, reframing the resistance that's in your way, any of those kinds of things that you're working on being more intentional with, you can add tapping into doing that. Once you practice it and give it a try, you'll start to feel more comfortable creating your own scripts and focusing on your specific emotions and situations. So it is one of those things that gets easier the more you do it, and the more you're willing to explore and drill down to core issues and what's really going on under the surface, I think the more powerful it is. All right, so that's the introduction to tapping. It gives you an idea of what to do and why it works the way it works, and what to have ready, what you can be writing in your notebook so that you're prepared. Next, if you want, pop on over to try the Tapping to Get Unstuck video. It will be a script that you can follow along and just say the words that I'm saying as a way to practice. So we'll see you over in that video. Have fun tapping. Don't forget, the internet is an amazing resource for this tool. You can find all sorts of different ideas and different people to follow that can really help you to build your tapping practice, or use tapping as a really helpful self-leadership tool to get unstuck when you're feeling stuck. That's the whole thing here. We really want to do something that helps ourselves. All right, we'll see you in the next video.